Hi, Jim Brisson from scoutroom.net, and I'd like to talk about user admin today. This has a few tricky concepts in it, so tighten your seatbelts. This is a little bit slow. Anyway, there's a difference between users in Scoutroom versus members. Members of units typically have paid dues, right? Filled out application forms, all of that good stuff, and are formal members of the unit. Certainly the scouts are members, and a lot of the parents are volunteers and members of the unit as well. Users, on the other hand, are people that should be able to view your unit, users of your unit in Scoutroom. So the user is established by Scoutroom. After they register, they've provided an email address. Scoutroom verifies that email address. And after that, when they log in, Scoutroom looks in all units for that email address. And if it finds their email address in a unit, then it's going to make that connection to connect the user to that unit. Users, of course, could be parents of scouts that are not volunteers, grandparents, very interested parties, guardians, or whatever. And so there are people that should be able to view the Scoutroom records, but they may not be members, but it's inconsequential because they're just people that should be able to view the Scoutroom records for your unit. Now, so that's the difference between a user and a member. Some users are members and some are not, and similarly for members. Some members are not users. They all should be, of course, but some are not. All right, so this is a list of users, typical or not atypical view of in Scoutroom. It's searchable, so you can search on the name if you'd like. You can page through the entries. There aren't enough entries in this demo unit. You can page through all of the entries if you'd like. You could restrict or expand how many entries you see all at once. And the columns are resortable. You just click on the column header to resort it. So this view will show you all of the authorized roles. If there's a checkbox in here, that means that they're authorized at that level. Here, I just you see this, Adam Ace is authorized to do everything, and Aidan Aldrich has no authorizations. Let's go in and look at Adam Ace's record. So you can edit this by clicking on the pencil. Again, this is an authorized view. Only the person who has user admin authority will see the view like this. Apologize for it being a little bit slow. User information is shown on the first page. As I mentioned, there's a few complicated concepts here. These are the roles. That's pretty straightforward. And you can change the email address, but as I said, the connection is between the user and the member, and that connection actually authorizes them to get into the unit. All depends upon the email addresses matching, so be very careful if you're going to change the email address. Sometimes people register with a name that's not very user-friendly. You might change that for them. Even though they'd be using the login, they won't be using the name, but it would show up on occasion, like on the user admin list, for example. So you may want to change those things. There's a connection between the member and the user, and you can change that on this page. I apologize that this one doesn't show many choices at all. There's only one choice. But on a real live site, when there are many choices, for example, if their email address is in the parents' member information as well as in the scouts information, you'd see two choices for that parent. So there can be choices here, and this is where the selection would be made to make the connection between the user and the member. Moving on to yet more complicated concepts. The user can be trusted by others to make updates on their behalf. An easy example is Mom may be trusted to update the Scouts record and Dad's record, and to do work on their behalf. So, for example, Mom may be trusted by them to update the calendar entries to say that they're going to attend a particular event. So Mom may be authorized by the Scout and Dad to to add them to calendar entries, which is probably a very common occurrence. So this can be controlled on this page. You select what members should be trusted by this particular user. The individual users rather, of Scout Room can control this themselves. Okay, so they can trust someone else. They can't pick who trusts them, of course, that doesn't make any sense. But they can say that they trust someone else. So it is within their control, and sometimes they can work all of this out completely on their own, but sometimes they can't, and the user admin is asked to do it on their behalf. This is the page that allows the user admin to do exactly that. There's some extra text here underneath to try to explain all of this, but the basic idea is that one or several members may trust the user to do work on their behalf, and this is where you structure that. This is the connection between the member and the user, which is kind of vital, and this is the authorization for different roles. Probably the thing you're going to do most often, perhaps not. Depends on your unit, I suppose. So that's the general idea of user admin, and that's what the user admin controls in Scout Room. Thanks for watching. Jim Burstyn on ScoutRoom.net.